Good afternoon, sir. I'm Joshua Bustrolio, and today I'm going to discuss about the Philippine history spaces for conflict and controversies, chapter 3. So, at this time, we will talk about the issue and problems na tila baga nagpapakita ng tinatawag nating mga kontradiksyon o parang hindi yata tama kung titingnan natin yung mga ibang resources hindi lang tutugma-tugma ang pag-alam sa mga kasaysayan. So, we have two concepts that need to be defined before proceeding to analysis of problem and historical. The first one is interpretation and the second one is multi-perspectivity. So ito yung dalawang konsepto na kailangan na malinaw sa atin bago natin sasaliksikin itong mga problemang ito sa kasaysayan. Una, yung tinatawag nating interpretation o nagbibigay paniniwala dun sa sinasabi ng primary source at yung tinatawag nating multi-perspectivity. Pagkakaroon ng maraming kahulugang papaliwanag sa isang pangyayari o isang sanay na tinatawag nating sangay ng kasaysayan. Making sense of the past, historical interpretation. History is the study of the past, but more contemporary definition is centered on how it the present through its consequences. So, lahat naman tayo alam na natin na ang historical the history is the study of the past, but more contemporary definition is it's centered on how the present through consequences. So, who is Geoffrey Baraclough? Geoffrey Baraclough defines the attempt to discover on the fragmentary evidence significant things about the past. Ayon dun sa pagbibigay kahulugan ni Geoffrey Baraclough ng kasaysayan, ito daw yung pagtangka natin na matuklasan sa pamamagitan ng pinagtatagpi-tagping mga katibayan, ebidensya ng mga makabuluhang pangyayari sa nakaraan. He also notes the history we read through based on fact is strictly speaking not factual at all but a series of accepted judgment. So sinasabi din niya yung nababasa nating kasaysayan although base ito sa mga facts, mga talagang nangyari kung tutuusin, hindi naman daw factual ang mga ito kung hindi naayon din yun sa pagtitimbang-timbang sa paniniwala sa paghusga sa isang nagsasalaysay. So the picture that have been showed in the screen is the Code of Kalanchaw. Code of Kalanchaw is a mythical legal code in the epic history Maragtas. Before it was revealed as hoax, it was a source of pride for the people of Aklan. In fact, a historical marker was installed in the town of Bataan, Aklan in 1956. Datu Bendehera Kalanchaw, the third chief of Panay, born in Aklan, established his government in the peninsula of Batang Aklan, Sakop. Considered the first Filipino lawgiver, he promulgated in about 1433 penal code now known as Code of Kalantiao, containing 18 articles. Dato Marcelino Orellana of Zaragoza, Spain, obtained the original manuscript from an old chief of Panay, which was later translated into Spanish. Rafael Morviero Yamani obtained the original manuscript from an old Panay that translated into Spanish. Only 1968 was proved a hoax when William Henry Scott and doctoral candidates at the University of Santo Tomas defended his research on pre-Hispanic sources in Philippine history. So, noong 1968, na-prove yung panluloko ng noong si William Henry at yung mga doctoral candidates ng university is defended research on pre-Hispanic sources in the Philippines. He attributed the code of historical fiction written in 1913 by Jose A. Marco titled Las Antiguas Leyendas de la Isla de Negros.
So, good day everyone. This is Ivan Joseph de la Rosa and I am going to continue our topic about the Code of Kalanchao. So, historians utilize facts collected from primary sources of history and draw their own reading so that their intended audience may understand the historian event, process, and essence make sense in the past. So, the goal here is to understand the primary sources and make sense about the past. So the premise is that not all primary sources accessible to a general audience. Without proper training and background, non-historian interpreting a primary source may do more harm than a good primary source, may even cause misunderstandings sometimes, even resulting in more problems. So the next is the Aking Mga Kabata. So this poem is written by Rizal when he was 8 years old. This poem is a very prominent work of Rizal. There is no evidence to support the claim that this poem with the immortalized lines, ang hindi magmahal sa kanyang salita, mahigit sa hayop at malansang isda. And the worst evidence against Rizal authorship of the poem seems all unassailable. The poem handwritten by Rizal, there is no manuscript exist, so Rizal didn't make a manuscript about his poem. It was first published in 1906 in a book by Hermenegildo Cruz. Cruz started that he received the poem from Gabriel Beato Francisco, who claimed that have received it in 1884 from Rizal's close friend Saturnino Rasiles. But Rizal never mentioned writing his poem, and he never mentioned of having a close friend by the person of Rasiles. So further criticism of the poem reveals the wrongful attributed of the poem to Rizal. The poem was written in Tagalog and referred the word kalayaan, documented in Rizal's letters that he first encountered the word through Marcelo H. del Pilar's translation of Rizal's essay El Amor Patrio, was spelled as kalayaan. Rizal's native tongue was Tagalog. He is in Spanish from his mother. His mother named Chidora Alonzo. The poem's spelling is also the use of letters K and W to replace C and U, suggested by Rizal as an adult. Defined as a way of looking historical events, personalities, development, cultures, and societies from event perspectives, means there is no multitude of ways which can view the world, and it could be equally and valid at the same time equally partial as well. Historical writing is, by definition, biased, partial, and contains preconceptions. Historian decides on what sources to use, what interpretation to make more apparent, depending on what his end. So, multi-perspectivity as an approach in history must understand that historical interpretation contain discrepancies, contradictions, ambiguities, and often the focus of dissent.
1. Where did the first Catholic Mass take in the Philippines? It's been believed that the site of the first Mass took in Butuan, not in Limasawa. It has been reading claim that it's based on elementary readings on the primary source from the event. Primary source, Abus Lab. A site in San Miguel A. Bernard, Butuan or Limasawa. The site of the first Mass in the Philippines, Fractionation of the Evidence 1981. 15th of March 1521, as they sailed in the western coast of Ladrones, they saw land towards of the northwest, but owning too many shallow places where did not approach it. They found later that its name was Yunogan. They went instead that same day southwards to another small island named Suluan, and there they anchored. There they saw some canasbat that failed at the Spaniards' approach. These islands was the 9 and 2/3 degrees north latitude. Departing from those two islands, they sailed westward on the uninhabited island of Gada, where they took in a supply of wood and water. The sea around that island was free from shallows. On that island, they sailed westward towards a large island named Ceylon, was the island of Leyte. Sailing towards along the coast of that large island of Ceylon, they turned southwest to a small island called Masaba. That island is also at a latitude of 9 and 2/3 degrees north. People of that island of Masaba were very good. The Spaniards planted on a cross upon a mountain top. Masaba, they sailed northward again towards Insilani. They followed the coast of the Silani in a northwesterly direction as ascending up to 10 degrees of latitude, where they saw 3 small islands. Entered to a channel between 2 islands, one of which was called Matan and the other one Subu. Occurred the town of Labelia of Subu, where they stay many days of obtain provisions and enter into the peace pact with the local king. The town of Subu was on east-west direction with the islands of Suluan and Mazava, but between Mazava and Subu there were many so shallows that the boats could not go westward directly, but has to go as they did a roundabout way.
Primary source Pigapeta's testimony in the route of Magellan's expedition. The site of a first Mass in the Philippines, a journal of Southern Philippines. 1. Saturday, March 1521. Magellan's expedition sighted a highland named Zamal or Samar, which was some 300 leagues westward of Landrones, now the Marianas Island. 2. Sunday, March 17, they landed on another island which was uninhabited, and to the right mentioned island of Samal or Samar. 3. Same day, Sunday, March 17, Magellan named the entire archipelago the island of Saint Lazarus. It was Sunday in the Lenten season when Gospel assigned for the Mass and the liturgical of the was the 11th chapter of St. John. Monday, March 18, in the afternoon of second day on that island of Samal, they saw a boat towards them with 9 men. Magellan asked for food supplies, and the men went away, promising to Magellan that will bring rice and other supplies in 4 days. There were 2 springs of water on that island of Homonon. They also saw an indication about gold in these islands. Magellan renamed the island and called it was a watering place of good omen. 6. Friday, March 22, at noon, the natives returned. They were in 2 boats and they brought food supplies. Magellan expedition stayed 8 days at Homonhon from Sunday, March 17 to March 25, 1521. Monday, March 25 was the feast day of the Incarnation, also called the Feast of the Day, Annunciation, and Our Lady's Day. Thursday, March 28, in the morning of Holy Thursday, they anchored off an island where the previous night they had seen a light or bonfire. Lies in a latitude of 9 and 2/3 in Arctic Pool, and longitude of 162. It is 25 leagues from the aquada called Mazwa. They remained 7 days on Mazwa Island. Thursday, April 4, 1521, they left Mazwa. Bound for Cebu, the king of Mazwa sailed his own boat. They took them past five islands, namely Ceylon, Bohol, Canighan, Baybay, and Gatig. At Gatigban, they sailed westward to the Tree of Island Camotes group, namely Puro, Pasihan, and Punsun. From the Camotes Island, they sailed southwards toward Zubu. After 3 days, Sunday, April 7, at noon, they entered the harbor of Zubu or Cebu. It taken them 3 days to negotiate journey from Mazwa northwards to Camotes Islands and then southwards to Cebu.
Case Study 2. What happened in the Cavite Mutiny? The 1872 is historic year of 2 events, which is the Cavite Mutiny and the martyrdom of the 3 priests or kamatayan ng 3 priest. Sila Mariano Gomborza, Jose Burgos at Jacinto Zamora ay papanatili bilang isang Gomborza. Ang mga kaganapan sa event na ito ay pinakamahalaga sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas na direktang naka-influensya sa mga kaganapan sa Pilipinas. Spanish account of Cavite Mutiny. The Spanish historian Jose Montero y Vidal centered on how the event was an attempt in overthrowing the Spanish government in the Philippines. Ang nananaysay na Espanyol na si Jose Montero y Vidal ay nakasentro kung paano ang pangyayari ay isang nagpagtatangka sa pagbagsak sa pamahalaan ng Espanya sa Pilipinas. Ang isang account galing sa opisyal na sinulat ni Gobernador General Rafael Izquierdo ay nagsangkot sa mga tutubong klero na noon ay aktibo sa kilusan tungo sa polarisasyon ng mga parokya. Primary source: example, the Montero's account of the Cavite Mutiny. The abolitions of privileges, the liberals of the Cavite arsenal of exemptions from the tribute was cause of insurrection. Ang pag-aalis ng mga pribilehiyo na manggagawas ng Cavite arsenal mula sa tribute dahilan ng insurrection o paghihimagsik. Si Zamora ay nilitis ng court martial para hatulan ng kamatayan. On 17 February 1872, the Gomborza were executed to serve as a threat of Filipinos to attempt to fight the Spaniard. Sa 17 Pebrero 1872 ay pinatay ang Gomborza para magsilbing banta sa mga Pilipino na tangkaing labanan ang mga Kastila. Differing accounts of the event of 1872. The other primary account exists that seem to be centered the account of Izquierdo and Montero. Dalawa pang ibang account ang umiral na tila sumasalungat sa mga account ni Izquierdo at Montero. Primary source, except from Pario de Tavera's account of Cavite meeting. This uprising among soldiers in Cavite was used as the powerful level by the Spanish president and by the central government in Madrid announced that intention to deprive the friars in these islands of intention. Ang pag-aalsa ng mga sundalo sa Cavite ay ginamit bilang isang makapangyarihang antas ng mga residente ng Kastila at ang gobyerno sentral sa Madrid ay nagpahayag ng isang intensyon na bawiin ng praile ang islang makapangyarihan sa mga usapin na pamalaang sibil.
According to this account, the incident was merely a mutiny by Filipino soldiers and laborers. Tavera is of the opinion that the Spanish friars and Izquierdo used the Cavite community as a way to address other issues by blowing out of proportion the isolated mutiny attempt. The friars needed something to justify their continuing dominance in the country, and mutiny provided opportunity. The Spanish government introduced an educational degree using Cistercian schools run by friars into a school called the Philippine Institutions. The degree aimed to improve the standard of education in the Philippines by requiring teaching positions to fill the competitive examinations, an improvement welcomed by the most Filipino. Another account, French writer by Edmond Flachet, complemented the Bureau's account and 38 analyzed the motivational of the 1872 in Cavite. The Philippines, during Spanish era, there was a degree that was introduced to enhance the quality of education in the country. This degree stated that teaching positions will be filled through competitive examinations. This meant that teachers would need to pass exams to qualify for teaching positions. This was seen as a positive change by many Filipinos because it ensured that only qualified individuals would become teachers. Additionally, there is another account by a French writer named Edmond Flachet. He praised Tavera's account and analyzed the motivations behind the 1872 Cavite. This means that Flachet provided positive review of Tavera's work, examined the reasons behind the events that took place in Cavite in 1872. Primary sources: excerpts from Flachet's accounts of the Cavite community. General Latorre created a junta composed of 5 officials including some friars and 6 Spanish officials. At the same time was created by government in Madrid committee to investigate the same problems submitted to Manila Committee. In this excerpt, it mentioned that General Latorre created a junta, which is a committee or council composed of high officials, including some friars and 6 Spanish officials. Additionally, the government in Madrid also created a committee to investigate the same problems that were submitted to the committee in Manila.
Gumburza, the collective name of the three first martyr priests Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora, who were tagged as the mastermind of the Cavite Mutiny. They were prominent Filipino priests charged with treason and sedition The Gomburza were executed by Garrote in public, a scene purportedly witnessed by a young Jose Rizal. Jose Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora, sila yung tatlong napiling Gamburza na martyr pressed, and they are a Filipino pressed the government by ensuring your trial and mystery and pardoning your co-accused has suggested that some mistake was committed when your fate was decided in paying homage to your memory and calling your martyrs. The church, by the refusing to degrade you, has put it in the crime charge against you. Let's proceed to the case study 3. Did Rizal retract? Jose Rizal is identified as a hero of revolution. He wrote the No Limitang Hire and El Filibusterismo. He brings the Filipino closer to the truth that society is image, its eye to reality level against Spanish government, or it's a vision of abuse. Rizal wrote again the friars and the Catholic Church, damage to his image as a prominent Filipino revolutionary. In some documents purportedly exist allegedly signed by Rizal before his execution, and those documents referred to as the retraction, which means Rizal believed the faith of Catholic and retract everything against the church. So this kind of history is the death penalty or execution of Rizal. So what is retraction? Retraction is an action of drawing something back or back in. In another word, Jose Rizal regrets of whatever he did to the person or to the group of people. And those are the Spanish governments and Spanish friars, and because of the No Limitang Hire and El Filibusterismo, Filipino nation become awake to the truth about the discriminating the Philippine society by the Spanish friars man against of injustice. According to primary sources, Rizal retraction by Ferrer Manuel Garcia is covered by the original documents that saying Rizal retract was May 18, 1935. In Manila, December 29, 1896. Jose Rizal. Furthermore, the text was published in different places. The first one is La Voz Española and Diario de Manila. That was on December 30, 1895, day of execution. And the second one is La Juventud, that was February 14, 1897 in Barcelona, Spain. However, the original text was found in Archdiocese.
So what is the Balogar testimony? The Balogar testimony refers to the account given by Josué Ferrer Fr. Vincent Balogar regarding the alleged retraction document of Jose Rizal. Fr. Balogar claimed to have witnesses Rizal written a retraction document before his execution. This testimony have been a subject of debate and controversy because it is the only eyewitness account of Rizal written a retraction document. Testimony of Carpo de Valencia. Another eyewitness account surfaced in 2016 through the research of Professor Rene R. Escalante. In his research document of the Carpo de Valencia included a report on the last hour of Rizal, written by Federico Merino. The report details the statement of Carpo de Valencia to Merino. Eyewitness, the last hour of Dr. Jose Rizal. Sources, Michael Charleston Chua. Retraction ni Jose Rizal, mga bagong dokumento at pananaw. Published December 29, 2016. Sa pahayag, sumula si Rizal sa papel na narinig niya ang retraksyon at binanggit din ang mga pareng pumasok sa piitan ni Dr. Jose Rizal na sina Padre Villaclara at si Padre March. Narito ang mga ilang bahagi na isinaysay sinaling sa salitang English mula sa salitang Espanyol. Most illustrious Sir, the agent of Carpo de Valencia stated in Fort Santiago to report on the events during the day in prison of the accused. Jose Rizal informed me on this day of the following 7:50 yesterday morning. Jose Rizal entered death row accompanied by his counsel Senor Travel de Andrid and the Jesuit priest Villaclara. At the arrange of the former and moments after entering he was served a light breakfast. At approximately 9 the assistants of the plaza Senor Maure. Asking Rizal if he wanted anything, he replied that at the moments he only wanted a prayer book which was brought by him surely by Father March. Senor Andrade left death row at 10 and Rizal spoke for a long while with the Jesuit Father March and Villaclara regarding religious matter and saying it appears that these two presented him with a prepared retraction on his life and debts that he refused to sign. They argue about the matter until 12:30 with Rizal eat same a poached egg and eat little chicken. Afterward, he asked to leave to write and wrote for a long time by himself. At 3 in the afternoon, Father March entered the chapel and Rizal handed him what he had written. Immediately, the chief of the firing squad, Senor Del Fransno, and the assistant of the plaza, Senor Maure, were informed. They entered death row and together with Rizal signed that document that had written. It seemed this was the retraction.
Jose Rizal was not officially part of Katipunan. The organization and its members still showed great appreciation for his words and view. Both Rizal and Katipunan shared the same goals of striving for a better future for the Philippines through the establishment of a pre-autonomous and progressive nation. The Katipunan member saw Rizal as a role model and a source of inspiration, and his lectures and his speeches inspired them to take action against Spanish colonialism and to fight for Philippine self-determination. 13 of the 28 members of the leadership of the Katipunan, known as the Kataas-Taasang Sanggunian, were former members of La Liga Filipina, another organization that was founded by Jose Rizal in 1892. The Katipunan even used Rizal's name as a password to identify members of their organization. The Katipunan saw themselves as following in the footsteps of Rizal's effort to advocate for Philippines independence and the creation of a free and autonomous Philippines. While Rizal was not directly involved in the activities of the Katipunan, his impact on the organization can be seen in the fact that many members were former members of La Liga Filipina and the Katipunan used his name as a password. The Katipunan was a secret society of Filipino revolutionaries
who sought to overthrow Spanish colonial rule and establish an independent Philippine Republic. The society was founded in 1892 and had various chapters throughout the Philippines, including in Manila, Cavite, and other parts of Luzon. In 1896, the Katipunan decided to inform their leader, Dr. Rizal, of their plans to launch the Philippines Revolution. They sent Pio Valenzuela, a Katipunan sympathizer and journalist, to visit Rizal in Dapitan, Visayas, where he was living at the time. It is true that the accuracy of Piolo Valenzuela's account of his meeting with Dr. Rizal, the leader of the Filipino nationalist movement, has been questioned by the scholar. This is because Valenzuela's account was written several years after the event, and there are some inconsistencies and incoherencies in the account. According to Valenzuela memory, Rizal did not object to the idea of a national plan on the ground that it would be tantamount to rebellion or treason. Rizal advised Valenzuela that the Katipunan would need to secure the support of a large portion of the Filipino population before launching a revolution. He suggested that the group should prioritize winning over the masses and gaining their supports before taking up arms against the Spanish. Rizal also suggests that Antonio Luna be recruited to lead the military movement of the revolution, as he was a well-known military veteran and had experience in fighting against the Spanish in the Philippines Wars. The Cavite Mutiny was a significant event in the history of the Philippines Revolution, as it marked the start of a widespread rebellion against Spanish rule. However, the mutiny was quickly supported by both Spanish and Filipino forces, and many of the leaders and members of the Katipunan were arrested and executed. The Cavite Mutiny, also known as the Cry of Balintawak or the Cry of Bagumbayan, was a key event in the history of the Philippines and the struggle for independence from Spanish colonial rule. The event took place on August 23, 1896 in Cavite, a province south of Manila, Philippines. It was led by the Katipunan, a secret society that sought to overthrow the Spanish colonial government and establish an independent sovereign state in the Philippines. Prominent Filipino historian Teodoro Agoncillo emphasized the significance of the event in his book, The Society Origins of the Philippines Revolution, where he argued that the Cry of Balintawak was a crucial moment in the development of the Philippine Revolution.
Some writers identify the first military event with the Spaniards as the moment of the Cry, for which Emilio Aguinaldo commissioned an hymno de Balintawak to inspire the renewed struggle after the Pact of Bayac-na-Bato failed. A monument to the heroes of 1896 was erected in what is now the intersection of Epifanio de los Santos Avenue or EDSA, Andres Bonifacio Drive North Diversion Road, and from then on until 1962. The Cry of Balintawak was celebrated every 26th of August. So here is the different days and dates of the Cry. Various accounts of the Cry give different dates and places. A guardian civil, Oligario Diaz, identified the Cry to have happened in Balintawak on 25th of August 1896. Teodoro Calao, Filipino historian, marked as the place to be in Kangkong, Balintawak on the last week of August 1896. Santiago Alvarez, a Katipunero and son of Mariano Alvarez, leader of the Magdiwang faction in Cavite, put the cry in Bahay Toro in Quezon City on 24th of August 1896.
Pio Valenzuela, known Katipunero and private to many events concerning the Katipunan, stated that the cry happened in Pugad, Lawin on 23 August 1896. While historian Gregorio Zaid identified the cry to happen in Balintawak on 26 August 1896, while Teodora Agoncillo put it at Pugad, Lawin, 23 August 1896, according stated by Pio Valenzuela.